Hi, fourth graders. Today we're going to practice a technique called Scrimshaw, and we did this back in kindergarten where we made snowflakes on plaster ornaments, and you might still have those at home. And I like to do it in kindergarten and also in fourth grade before you leave elementary school. So you have one that you created when you first started and one that you created when you ended your career at Indian Creek. Scrimshaw is a technique passed on from the whalers and the pirates. They used it as a form of communication for the products that they were trying to sell to each other. And they would carve into the tusks of walruses or sperm whale teeth or bones of the whales. And what they would do is they'd carve whatever they were selling, and then they would put mud over the top of it, and wherever the carving was of what they made is actually shown through that print that they have. And here are some examples of that. So that is a walrus tooth, and there is a ship that they have carved. So anyways, what we're going to do today is carve in a design into the plaster ornament, and then we're going to paint them instead of spreading mud over the top. But we're going to carve, the theme is holiday or winter theme. So let's think of some words that kind of go with winter. When I think of winter, I think of snowmen, I think of presents, I think of Christmas trees, I think of Hanukkah, I think of Kwanzaa, and I think of other themes like that. So I don't want you to do a snowflake again. We did that in kindergarten. I want you to come up with something a little more challenging, maybe a wreath or something like that. And on your practice paper, what you're going to do is draw the design that you're planning on making onto the ornament. And the reason we're practicing on our paper here is because when you start carving, any errors that you make, you can't erase. So it's good to have a plan before you start. So I'm just quickly drawing, some sort of a holiday theme. Then I'm going to try now carving into my Scrimshaw ornament. Now what you don't want to do is hold your ornament by the hook, because it's very, very fragile. And another thing you don't want to do is drop it down on your table. You need to handle it with two hands with care. And when you're setting it down on your paper towel, make sure that you're setting it down gently. All right, now I'm going to take my paper clip as my carving tool, and I'm going to just go ahead and begin carving that tree. You don't want to blow off the shavings because that could get into someone else's eye when you're blowing. I've had that happen before. Just leave them on there, and then you can gently just shake them off onto your paper towel, and we'll brush off the tables later. Any errors that you make, you can actually make into happy mistakes. And make it part of your engraving. Make some sort of a ground line so I don't have a flying tree. And let's go ahead and make my star at the top. You want to carve deep enough that you can see your lines, but not so deep that you're going to break the ornament. And I've decided that I'm going to eliminate some of the details that I made in the initial drawing, just because it is kind of fragile and I want to leave it so it doesn't break. Now let me hold this a little closer so that you can see my carving. I'm going to dust off the shavings quick, and the next step I'll show you in a second.
Alright, the next step is to begin watercolor painting. To set up your watercolor paint, you need to have a paper towel underneath you, your cup just with a little bit of water in it, and I like to use small brushes when I'm doing this part of it because I have a lot of details in my work. And pretty much what you're going to do is just carefully paint your whole Scrimshaw ornament. Take special care into doing it. You can dance around and paint more to get a darker color if you want. Try not to add too much water to your paint. I like to use mostly the paint instead of the water with watercolors. Alright,
So there you have your finished scrimshaw. I'd like you to place it on your name label, and I will put a nice clear coat on the top of it, and I will also put a little hanging device and give it to you wrapped and ready to take home next week. I hope you had fun.